Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday Eve. How's everybody doing? Good morning, Stelios. Can you guys hear me and see my screen? Let me know. Good morning. Good morning. Stelios. Who else is here? Give a shout out in the chat. Start diving into the analysis this morning. Good morning, Tori. Good morning, Ray. Yep, seeing here. Cool, cool, cool. How's everybody been trading this week? Good morning, Nicholas. Welcome in. Let me start this on, I wasn't even going to do the Instagram live stream today, but let me start it on there just so it lets people know that we're on here doing this. Tori said, meh, so far this week. Yeah, it's been a kind of a meh month for me. It's okay. It's just summer volatility. We're up here near all-time highs. So it is what it is. Making the most of it. Making the most of it. I just haven't had a lot of like really big wins or anything this month, to be honest. Just scalping it out. Trying to eliminate poor, irrelevant trades with lack of market understanding. Yeah, that is super, super key. Super key is to eliminate dumb, random trades. You have to have a good system and trade setups that you repeat, and you're very clear on that. So you just repeat that and avoid everything else. Good morning, Tyler. First time in. Cool. Welcome, dude. Not great yesterday. Read the market wrong. Was trying to look for sellers near a low volume node, but was slowly grinding up. Yeah, I caught it right off the open short yesterday. Caught it for about 10 points. And then I got the heck out just because I have so many notes from like this whole year, like telling myself not to hold runners on shorts, not to look for big moves. If I take shorts, it's just a quick counter trend scalp and get out. And so I did that. Actually, I caught this move here. And then I got out here around 56, 57. I spotted a ton of absorption and selling up here, was able to catch it. I posted a recap on Instagram. But massive absorption here, buyers failing and getting trapped. It worked in the short term. That's all I was looking for it to work. And I was just targeting, like, see these prior highs from yesterday right there. We hit that. I held on for a second. I gave back a few points. I think I gave back like maybe 3 points of unrealized gain because I was just holding on to see if maybe sellers were crazy strong and we're just going to smoke through that and maybe take out these lows down here in the 40s. And so I held my finger on the trigger for a second after he touched that. And as soon as we started bouncing, I said, yep, I'm out. 10 points, done. But I gave back like 3 points of unrealized gain down here if I would have closed right at my target at the lows, which is those highs right there. But I let it breathe for just a second to see if sellers really just wanted to crush through and maybe sweep out these overnight lows from when the market opened yesterday. And they did not. And as soon as I started to see that buying coming in, I just closed it. It was a great opportunity to actually flip that trade around long down here. But I said, you know what? I just don't want to have one of those days where I'm at the screens all day, cut a nice 10-point win first thing in the morning. Let me just use this as an opportunity to have a day away from the screens now. How much pressure do you have when you trade full time to make money? A lot. But after years of experience, you kind of just become so numb that you just grind through it. And when you have a good system that you're repeating day in and day out, it kind of helps you just rely on that and not get too psyched out mentally because you just kind of can become a little bit robotic. I trade still very discretionarily. You know, there's a lot of discretion in reading order flow, but I have very specific setups that I look for, and I try to my best to stick with that and not anything random. What are your thoughts on dynamic risk, exponential bet size? Not in the beginning at all, not until you're a very experienced trader. And even me, I still have like a range. Like right now, I like to be like within like $300 to $500 per trade on risk. And so for most of my scalps, I'll try to stick to like the $300 end of that range. And if I see a really, really A+ setup, then I'll hit the max of that range, like $500 or $600 on a setup. But it's still within my max daily risk. Like I have a max daily risk as well. Like I will not lose more than 2 or 3 trades in a row. Good morning, Steve. Welcome in. Good morning, David. Welcome. A lot of people, a lot of the same group. That's cool. We got a few new people though. Everybody say welcome, Tyler. It's his first time. All right, we'll start jumping into the analysis for the day. It's actually kind of a tricky location here. So yeah, in the same way, I was just curious in your thoughts. Yeah, I think it's extremely important to be very consistent about your risk, like on a monthly or quarterly basis on the trades that you take. Just because you're trying to eliminate like randomness in your data. So the more you can repeat the same setups, the more you can keep your risk consistent, then you can really hone in on your data and figure out what's working, what's not. If you're taking all kinds of different setups and you have all kinds of different risk size, it's going to be almost impossible to figure out like what's actually working and what's not, other than the fact that everything's not working. How do you handle the psychology aspect of trading full-time if you have a red week? A lot of it just comes down to experience. Like I've had so many drawdowns, so many red weeks, and have grinded my way back and fought through it. So like I never feel like I'm out of the fight. And I'm also risking a small enough percentage of my account. It's not like I'm on the edge of my seat on every trade every day thinking I need to flip this account to make the next buck. You know what I mean? So having a very manageable risk level that you're comfortable with, a small percentage of your account, and then just the experience of, you've been doing this for so long and you've gotten through so many things and adapted to so many different things that it's more negligible as far as that pressure and psychology. Jump up to the upper time frames here, go to some blank charts. So I always like to just kind of go through my analysis every day just on blank charts. I like to have very minimal stuff on my charts. I do technical analysis and analyze supply and demand structure and stuff like that to come up with locations, but all of my trade execution is based on just reading the order flow in real time as the market develops. But the higher time frame technical analysis, I like to be very unbiased. That's why I like blank charts every day. I like to just kind of identify what stands out to me as far as like just basic supply and demand market structure, technical analysis. I'll do more in-depth videos and stuff in the future on the way I do things, but I like to keep it very simple and repeatable, and really the bread and butter, or the real special sauce, is just the years of experience and ability to analyze order flow. That is able to help me really navigate the markets intraday and pinpoint very high risk reward setups. But looking at the daily time frame here, I'm just going to start jumping into the analysis. We got 15 minutes till the bell. I will take more questions though. Great questions and stuff this morning from you guys. We're at all-time highs. How's that for technical analysis? We are at all-time highs and we're going up. We consolidated here at the prior all-time highs for a while, couple weeks, broke out, pulled back, held that, and rallied further. So like when I see just rally, we based right here above these old all-time highs, We rallied again, pulled back into it, and held that basing area. I mean, that's just like technical analysis, supply and demand, support and resistance 101. Rally, based, we broke out of it, we pulled back, we held, rallied again. So I'm not looking to kind of reverse that on a higher time frame until bears really shift the market structure. But that being said, it's summer, volatility is lower, and we're at all-time highs, which both of those conditions, both of those things have a tendency of being very difficult and taking a lot of money from inexperienced traders. Volatility is lacking. There's a lot of kind of manipulation and stuff like that as larger players look to kind of eat liquidity to fill positions. And so there can be a lot of trickery and slow grinds. And so you got to be very cautious and careful. At least that's how I view things. That's what I've noticed over the years, both with all-time highs and summer seasonality. A lot of people are on vacations. A lot of people aren't trading markets. So I'm going to get rid of this now, but you see what I'm talking about. So from a higher time frame market structure, very bullish, absolutely nothing bearish here on my end. Rally, base, rally. That being said, I still took a short yesterday. There is opportunities to capitalize on both sides. That's the beauty of kind of using order flow. I'm in and out of positions quickly, but I'm very heavily not leaning towards trying to catch okay, somebody's blowing up the chat here, so I'm blocking them on Instagram. So I'm very much not trying to fade the momentum, not trying to go against that. Yesterday was kind of an exception because I saw such clear signs of absorption, clear signs of weakness with the selling. So I was able to capitalize on a really quick reversal, but I would not, and again, why I did not hold that for a crazy move. And really, when the volatility is lacking like this and we are in these conditions, I do, for the most part, try to just be in and out of quick scalps and not get overly greedy, especially when we had a larger expansion move like we did yesterday. So just from a higher time frame perspective, the market goes through periods of consolidating, expanding, consolidating, expanding. So yesterday we already had a pretty large expansion move, relatively speaking. And so I want to be a little bit cautious that a lot of people may be expecting that to just automatically happen again, chasing moves they missed yesterday. And so a lot of times when that occurs, it can be tricky for a while as we base or pull back again. So I'm going to kind of watch out for that. But at the same time, I'm not trying to call a top, a high for a big reversal. So I'm watching for pullbacks, for good opportunities to take long. That's pretty much the game plan today. You can see yesterday, just looking at the 4-hour chart here, again, just continue to make higher lows, with the exception of this, which is actually a setup that I trade in itself, which is that fake out dip under the prior lows. But that 4-hour candle didn't close anywhere near those lows, closed up near the middle of the range, and then we rallied aggressively since then. And continuing to every sharp pullback has left a large wick and just rallied higher. So what I'm watching for is those sharp pullbacks to catch them. I don't really want to chase longs at the highs. Just from a risk versus reward perspective, it becomes less and less appealing. If that's just rallying at all-time highs and I don't see a great opportunity, then I'll probably just sit to the side and wait for my opportunity, which will happen in the future sometime. All right, so dropping down here. This is kind of the 1 hour where I started to see some kind of nice structure. We had this nice fake out dip yesterday. Again, I capitalized on that short for a very quick little pullback. But you can see since the market opened yesterday, we had that rally based and then rallied off that. We dropped aggressively into that base and we swept out all of these lows. So you can obviously see stop losses under those lows. We swept those out, filled a lot of liquidity. Large buyers were obviously here absorbing and rallied up. On that rally up, we broke the highs right here and pulled back and held them. So obviously another rally base rally structure. So I like this structure here. This is probably some of the only structure that I do see. Let's see. Just that whole area there between, maybe I marked it already. No, I didn't. Okay. So I do have this level at 74. This is prior highs. We broke out. You can see we kind of double topped it here in the pre-market yesterday, rejected, and then broke out above it. Loosely speaking, we held it. If we drop far below this, then I'll be cautious to long a dip. I'll wait for a further dip. But if we pull back into here, let's see. Just going to call this kind of an intraday demand level because it was the top of this consolidation area. So you can see clearly we kind of consolidated in this after breaking out. This is the hourly time frame. So we broke out above those highs. We spent 2 hours in this area and then rallied out again from it. So if we do pull back into here, I'll be watching for longs in this area here, kind of between these levels. That's kind of the first dip that I'm watching for, if we even get that. The second thing, which I was watching, which I've already played out, was just for a little fake out under this overnight swing low that formed to take it long and scalp back into the highs. That's already kind of played out now this morning. So I'm still watching this area if we come back and test it again. So I haven't ruled this out yet, but not as fantastic because it already occurred right here. Since that did already occur, and we already kind of swept out this lows, if there is a lot of buying momentum and I see a nice pullback and just a significant amount of buying momentum, then I may be looking for like a momentum long setup and just take it to target another break out of the 6404. I probably will just be holding for a breakout, and as soon as I see the tape slow down, I'll be scaling out of it. Again, if you haven't noticed, most of the setup ideas that I have for today are just to be in and out of quick scalps, kind of like I am on Fridays. That's kind of my approach. But just because we rallied all the way to new all-time highs yesterday, we already expanded a lot, we're now consolidating a bit, I'm just kind of being cautious here. Drop down to the 15. Yeah, so kind of the same thing. You can see how much time we spent down here. And really, this is kind of a nicer area here. What is that? 78. So mark that. Well, we did have this really kind of wick out here. I wouldn't want to see us, probably retrace below there too much. I'll watch it. So that's kind of the middle of that range anyway. But just kind of that whole area, I'll watch price action and order flow and see what happens if we drop down there. All right, so for those of you guys on Instagram, I am live on YouTube where I'm sharing my screens and everything. So if you want to be a part of it, I recommend hopping over there. The link is in my story on Instagram. I'm going to end the live stream here on Instagram and just focus on YouTube. So if anybody is staying on Instagram, recommend switching over to YouTube. I'm sharing my screens on there. So somebody was like spamming the chat on Instagram asking to edit videos and stuff for me. Like, if you want to do business with somebody, probably not ideal to like spam their chat and stuff. I don't know. That doesn't seem like a great way to try to develop a business relationship. Just me. All right. So I will switch over to bookmap. That's my preferred order flow tool this morning. Show you guys that. Excuse me, sorry. What about 6388 area? 6388. It's a high volume area from yesterday. Yeah. Just looking at the volume profile from yesterday, pretty high volume there, it looks like. I think on the volume profile, it's kind of like a point of control area. Hey, Duke, welcome. Good morning, Just Julian. Yeah, so that is a pretty nice structure here too. We can see right from 86s right at the close. This was, what time was this? Just about the mock orders. Yeah, final 15 minutes here. So a lot of buying at market on close orders came in. Obviously, we can see this consolidation right at the end of the day. And that's really indicative of really strong uptrending days or downtrending days in the last 15 minutes to see like consolidation prior to that, and then just to really squeeze out and blast in whatever direction, up or down. That's a pretty telltale thing that I see on a lot of trending days in a direction. Yeah, PMI news at 9:45. Want to be cautious of that. I'm going to get rid of this thing. You guys know the area. Just a stat, 74% time we will hit prior settlement price the next day. Yeah, probably. That's not a specific thing that I look at. Good morning, Ishan. Welcome in. Welcome in. Got the whole crew here today. All right. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'll switch the screen over here to share my bookmap screen. I actually have two bookmap screens up. I'm starting to watch NQ at the same time, but thinking about doing a little bit more NQ trading with just kind of the lower volatility. But as far as summers go, this actually hasn't been too bad volatility. I think because of the Trump being in office and all the geopolitical stuff going on and et cetera, it's actually been not too bad. I mean, I remember days in past summers where we've traded in like a 10-point range the entire day. Heaps of positive delta built up between 89 and 94 on the move up. Now it's holding something interesting. Yeah. That also aligns with kind of that setup that I talked about on the fake out under that overnight swing low, the 93s. We dipped under that already. We already tagged that area and now we're bouncing. That was what I was saying would kind of lead me to see if we have kind of like a momentum setup here off the open and target kind of a breakout of the highs with a lot of buying momentum if we get a little dip. But a little tricky here. Sorry, we already dipped to that level in the pre-market and now we're already rallying back towards the highs. So it's like that was kind of that setup already. So it's less appealing to me when the setup is already kind of played out in the pre-market. Would have been great though, right around 8:45 if I was watching and looking to trade in the pre-market, but I don't. This is what I was talking about right when we got down there. See this kind of this sweep of that level under those 93s, and then we quickly shot back up above it. Look at all this absorption, and then look at all these bids appearing right under it, holding it. Never dipped back there again. So you would have had to been really fast and really sharp, caught out on the dip and recapture of that 93 overnight swing low after seeing this absorption and seeing all these bids appear here. And then probably target the highs up here where we're already trading at. Yeah, we're already back above 6,400. So this would have already been the target on a couple point risk. So kind of not watching that setup anymore. But it would have been cool. Cool little scalp to call it a day, but it's already played out now. So do you wait till after news to trade? Yeah, probably, unless I see a really good setup, but I don't really super love the location in the market right now. There's no reason for me to rush into anything right here, especially given that we have that higher impact PMI news coming out at 9:45. So we already kind of, if I was going to take a trade this morning, that was already kind of the setup that I just talked about. That's already happened in the pre-market. And that was like 7, 8, 10 point win on like a 1 or 2 point risk. And it's already happened now and we're shooting up. So definitely a valid day to be cautious and stay cash. So just keep that in mind. Most retail traders just can't do that. They just cannot sit cash watching the charts. They gotta be jumping into something. And if you're doing that, taking random trades, jumping into stuff because you want us to be a part of the market move, it's gonna be super hard to consistently make money. You can make money, but it's gonna be hard to keep it. Trying to take a week or two off to build patience and discipline while testing my system, journaling. Yeah, that's not a bad idea at all, Ishan. I would say certainly if you need the capital that you have and stuff, like don't be just blasting through it. Demo or something trade, or just trade as small as you possibly can, like 1 micro. And really that's what you should just be doing. Like I spent a couple of years, like I'd already been trading for years, and then I joined the investor trade group and I started trading futures. I had been trading options for years. And then I really traded just like 1 or 2 micros for a couple of years. Just it wasn't about money at all. It was just about learning and upskilling. But a lot of people trying to flip accounts and make money too much too fast and without really developing skills makes it really hard. How would you play that large positive delta passive buyer at the 96s? I am not playing anything right now. Just not a super key location. We're right in the middle of the consolidation range that we've been in since yesterday's close. We're all night and in the pre-market and so far today, we have just traded in the last 15 minutes of yesterday's range. ES is more efficient, unlike equities, but I do trade ES. I'm saying, but I do trade options from time to time as well, but I primarily just trade options on SPY, and it's when I'm kind of doing more swing trades. Or it's when I'm getting into kind of like a day trade, longer day trade that I might possibly hold as a swing trade. Then I'll just take it with options because I don't like trading. I don't like holding futures. For one, it's a significant amount of capital for the overnight margin requirements to hold through. And 2, I like how I can kind of really cap my risk with my position size with options. There's no, if anything crazy happens, there's no way to really cap your risk with futures. It's kind of unlimited risk potential. But I don't really trade a lot of equities. I used to in the past trade a lot of options on a lot of different things, but now I pretty much just trade ES and occasionally NQ. And even when I trade options, it's usually on SPY. Larger bit, the 96s, yeah, we're seeing that. But again, just location, risk versus reward, et cetera, et cetera. There's nothing that I'm looking to get in right at the moment here. But I mean, you could potentially look to do that and just kind of hold for a break out of the highs and see how far it goes, but not something I'm trying to do here. Again, 10 minutes till PMI news, guys. So keep that in mind as well. The only time I'd like to get in that kind of at this kind of time frame, if I saw a really nice high risk reward setup, A+ entry confirmations, I got in it, and I was up a good amount to pad myself before the news comes out. But I mean, the news could come out and this could just blast straight up, and I'll just be waiting. Yeah, we're seeing all this buying here. There's this kind of lower volume, quick little dump off the open, and a lot of buying here. But important to note, all this buying here, all this buying here, we still haven't really lifted above these 6400s. So what does that tell you? Yeah, I reset the DOM at the opening bell. I've showed it before. I'll show it again really quick here since I'm not really getting in a trade. Here's my DOM Pro. Here's the settings, take a picture, etc. It's all the default stuff. I arrange these like this, which you can just drag and move these. As far as resetting, I have it set automatically. You can set reset session volume profile buy and sell at the open 9:30, so that this all resets for me at the 9:30 open. Yeah, you're welcome, Matt. To yesterday's open, there is absorption at the highs. If it pulls back to that and you see sellers, would you like to take a short? You'd have to say the specific level. I'm a little confused with what you're saying. I'm not looking to take a short here right now. Not looking to do anything. I'm just observing, building context and analysis for the day to see what happens. But what I'm seeing right now is a lot of buying that has not really driven the market higher above 6,400. So which tells me, so far buyers are kind of lacking real enthusiasm at the highs, and B, a passive seller is selling to people that are aggressively buying orders at the market. So need to be cautious here, but I'm not probably going to short it, even though like in different conditions, different context, different location, I probably maybe would look to short this here, but I'd rather just sit back and wait because we have news coming out in 7 minutes. Now, after the news comes out, if we kind of fake out and we still see all this absorption here and stuff like that, then maybe I'll get interested to short it and target just a quick little break of the lows under the 90s. Under the 90s and maybe under the 86s into that zone that I talked about, 83 to 74 area. That hourly basing structure where we had that rally-based rally yesterday. Still pulling back here though. So you will post later. Okay. Hey, good morning, Jose. Welcome in. Good morning. We will see how this develops here. Matt, what do you specifically look for in the order flow when attempting a breakout setup? Just as a general rule of thumb, I like to see increasing volume on the highs, increasing excitement from buyers, and decreasing, volume, decreasing excitement from sellers on the pullback. Good morning, Jorge. Thanks for the live. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you all for being here. It helps me out a ton if you guys just like and share the stream. Appreciate it. That's all I ask. I'm doing this for free. Doing this just because I can, because I'm I'm trading anyway. So trying to share some insights and share some information with you guys. So if you appreciate this, it helps me out to just like and share so more people can join in and join the group with us. So exactly like I was saying, we saw all this buying up here that really failed to drive price over those 6,400s. So again, what does that tell you? A lot of buying, not breaking out over a level. That means there's got to be a passive seller here selling to all these buyers. You can't have buyers without sellers. So there are people passively selling here because all these aggressive market buy orders are not lifting price higher above these 6,400s. And now more selling is coming in and we're printing a lower low. I'm not saying I'm going to short it. I'm not. We got moves coming out in 4 minutes now. But I'm just saying let's look at the auction as it's coming in on bookmap here. That's what I see going on. So just kind of putting context together. There's not a ton of super key levels that we can clearly see in this area from just the candle chart. So just kind of seeing what develops in the auction. Thanks, Perth, for joining. Yeah, one thing I'm doing now more of is pulling up the bookmap on NQ as well and kind of comparing and contrasting. A lot of times one will be leading the others when one is relatively stronger or weaker than the other. So I'm starting to do more of kind of watching both at the same time, watching the order flow on both. I know a lot of people watch the charts on both, and I would often I would just kind of pull up the NQ charts while I'm watching ES, just see what it's doing. But I'm kind of looking more at like actually watching bookmap, at least at a higher level, to see what the order flow on that is doing at the same time. I don't have any specific setups for that specifically, other than I do look at like relative strength and weakness between the two. But I do like the idea of getting more involved with NQ, and then the better setups is like when I'm trading, when I'm looking for a long or I'm looking for a short, it's better to trade the instrument that is relatively stronger or weaker versus the direction that you're looking to trade. So I may start looking to do that a little bit and see like if NQ is relatively like way stronger than ES and I'm looking for a bottom reversal at an area on ES, maybe I look for that on NQ and get a more exaggerated move because it's already relatively stronger. It's just something I'm kind of looking at now. Yeah, I mean, ES and NQ kind of do drag each other, and it can be a little tricky when they are kind of opposed, like different sectors of the market are doing very different things. Then that can lead to kind of consolidation areas and kind of up and down. To call it a SMT divergence. I call it one sector of the market is doing well and one sector of the market isn't. The NQ is much more heavily tech weighted. So when tech names are strong, NQ is going to be stronger. I mean, I guess that's smart. Delta is so positive this AM. Yeah. 1 minute till news here. A lot of positive delta we can see here. 60,000 versus 59,000. So overall, more buyers and sellers. But not a it's starting to flip. 59, so about a 1,500 spread. I mean, there's definitely a lot of aggressive buying just here. There's just a lot of buying, but will that buying get rewarded with higher prices now or not? I don't know. So here's 945. Not seeing a super ton of reaction from the news just yet, but here we go. Back at the highs. Looking at the rest of the day, there's home sales news in 15 minutes. I don't think that's something I really look at significantly for the indices, but we'll see. And then 10-year tips auction at 1 p.m. That may have a reaction. So a lot more buying coming in here now. And so far, really not enough passive selling to put a lid on it. It's moving higher. Just broke these highs here. We'll see what happens at these 04s. It's a little tricky here because it's like getting in longs at all-time highs. It's like, what are you targeting? You just, I guess if you look at like maybe measured moves of recent days or recent similar moves, something like that. Maybe have some Fibonacci levels or something like that. I don't look at that stuff a ton. If I catch that something like that on like a breakout, I usually like to go pretty break even with my risk pretty fast and want to see it like move and not come back to my entry, and then kind of scale out when the tape slows down. But I don't have anything for this here just yet. We'll see what develops. It's a lot of buying. The question is like, who wants to be a seller up here? You know what I mean? There's a lot of buying momentum coming in. We just took out the highs, 6407.25. NQ is ripping as well. It's taking out the highs. So kind of last chance. We'll see if NQ rejects its highs here, but I'm not looking to short it up here. Who wants to be a seller up here? Can look to be potentially a buyer if we get a nice little pullback, but not a ton of great just location and context as far as good high risk reward, high probability trades. What are you guys watching? Let me know in the chat. Yeah, I did short this yesterday. I talked about that earlier this morning, but context was pretty different. Yeah, it was right under all-time highs, but like I said, I saw very good confirmations. There was different things about it, different context than what's happening right now. Very different. Definitely would not be shorting this right now. And even then, I just traded it for a very quick scalp and got the heck out. Counter trend. Need to close below the 07. Don't know, but I know that this is blasting right now. So best thing is probably a pullback that holds. There is a little bit of a lower volume area here when price bounced. Excuse me. Pretty quickly. Right here. So we'll see if maybe we get a retest of these 399s to 403s. And if there's a lot of super aggressive buying and absorption of sellers in there, then maybe it's a long setup and target continuation breakout of the highs. Again, if I trade setup like that, be pretty risk averse as far as moving my stop loss to break even pretty quick. Would want to just see a quick little dip that very aggressively and quickly bounces. Just target a breakout of the highs and just scale out when the tape slows down. Yeah, I'm probably not looking for that here, but that definitely is a possibility, a failed break of prior date highs. But just given the overall market structure now, after a strong rally day like that, I'd be more likely to see just another uptrending day than try to catch the top reversal on an uptrending day. Just context just is different to me. If the market was in a consolidation range and not strongly uptrending, then yeah, I would maybe look for a failed break above prior day highs. Different context, very different probabilities on types of trades. But not saying it couldn't work. And if you have a setup for that in these conditions and these confirmations, et cetera, then by all means, don't copy me. Take your own trade and do it. Certainly could work. It's just not a setup that I'm looking for right now. I try to align like conditions and context with trade setups that I think will be good for that. And I try to wait for that. Yeah, decent negative delta at 407, 200 lots. Yeah. It's not enough for me to get involved there, though, just from a risk versus reward perspective. Like, where's my stop loss here? I mean, just maybe just a point under 07, but I mean, very easy to just get a quick wick out there. That's a recipe for just taking a lot of losses on little setups like that. Rather see a little bit of a better pullback that provides a higher risk versus reward opportunity. Matt, you, like Carmine, often say you get out when it gets slow. What exactly does that mean? And how do you identify that? So just pace of the market, right? Look at this rally here. So we broke out and rallied fast. And then what's happened? So in 41 to 48, so in 7 minutes, we rallied up here pretty quick, straight up, right? And then now from 48 to 54, we've spent 6 or 7 minutes just going sideways. So that to me is it's slowed down, right? We rallied and then see the buy bubbles decreased. We had a lot of momentum on the breakout and then see how the size of the buy bubbles just got smaller and smaller and it just went sideways. So the tape slowed down. The up and down price momentum slowed down. That's like the pace of the market. Yeah, no problem, Tobias. God, that made sense. Here's a bit of a pullback, a lot of selling now. 788 lot negative delta at 6405, 270 lot negative delta at that 407. So a lot of negative delta coming in here. We'll see if buyers get aggressive and absorb in this area here. Or sorry, I should say, see if we see a lot of absorption in here from passive buyers, and then if aggressive buyers want to come in and continue to drive it higher. Hit just the top of that box area, but I would want to see a little bit more of a dip into here. And it could just smoke through from here. Sellers could really trap all these buyers up here now. There's been a lot of buying up here at these all-time highs. So it could easily just smoke through here. A nice aggressive drop, but I just didn't want to short it. And I'd rather just sit out than take a low probability trade. So we're holding like right at these prior highs here, right around that 402 area, right at the top of that box that I marked where buying was pretty aggressive up into this area. See what happens. Still a lot of selling coming in. I'm not seeing a ton of absorption. Here's a bid that just popped up, but see how this buying was pretty small and I didn't see any kind of large absorption in here. There was nothing for me at this moment that said just go ahead and buy this here. So I'm just kind of waiting. We could say, okay, we already know buyers are here and I'm just going to buy it on the dip into here. That is a methodology. I like to see something in real time in the moment that makes me click buy. And I may miss it if it bounces from here. But we are getting a bit of a dip that makes this more appealing from a risk versus reward perspective. Just hoping to get a little bit more. Like I said, we could have used that methodology of just buying in this zone because we already know buyers are aggressive in this area and bought it here at the 402s. But I didn't see enough to make me click buy right here. Yeah, I mean, we certainly could have a failed break of the high set up here. We the people. Certainly could happen. But wasn't the setup that I was wanting to look for here, like I said. Anything can happen all the time. It's just we all win some, we all lose some. So it's just a matter of doing your best to match up good setups, good probability, high risk versus reward, and just accept the wins and losses as they come. Ideally, you have more wins. Ideally, your wins are a lot bigger than the losses. That's it. How did you set this area of interest? It doesn't look like it's not really a low volume node. It's just, you can see zooming out here how we had this large buying down here, and then it's not literally like a low volume node on the day volume profile, but you can see right on the news here we had a lot of aggressive buying in this area. And so we've already been seeing a lot of buying in this area all morning. And then on the news, we had, obviously there was so much buying that price moved up here without trading a lot of volume right here. Not on the day volume profile, we've traded a lot of volume, but on this move. So that's why I marked it to watch it. We pulled back into there, and look at this. See how the selling kind of decreased as we dropped in there? That actually, as I zoom out a little bit, that actually looks nicer And so maybe I should have bought right there at 402s and put a stop loss here under the 99s, like a 3-point risk. Targeted a breakout of the 6410s where these are. So 8 to 10 point target for a 3-point risk, not bad. I didn't take it though. Here I was waiting to see a little bit more dip and a little bit more confirmation to click buy. But that's okay. There's still not a lot of really large aggressive buying coming in. There is buying, and selling did decrease as we drop down into here. So it is not invalid, but there's just not a ton of aggressive buying coming in now, right now. There is some, it's moving up, especially if we trap all these sellers here where this looks like a passive buyer. And then there's a lot of aggressive sellers here. If we trap these now, we could smoke higher quickly, but it would have been better to be in down here. I'm not going to initiate it up here because even if I got into 07s and put my stop loss under 02s, 5 points of risk, and we're already right at these highs. So this would have been a good entry where I marked that box, but I didn't see enough to click buy for me, but it worked. And here it goes. If we smoke back down here though, I probably if I did catch this right here at the lows, I'd probably not take a big loss on it. I'd probably just cut it off and then look for a better entry if we drop further down in here. Me personally, just because I'm not seeing a ton of aggressive buying really following through. We are buying and bouncing, but just not a lot of large buying. Like just look at the size of the bubbles, just not a ton of really large buying. Like on this rally, look how large these bubbles were. We pulled back and selling decreased into this area, but we are bouncing and it did work, but it's just, I would have really liked to see large momentum building buying coming in after that dip into there. Yeah, NQ selling off pretty hard in comparison. Yeah, and that's probably NQ is kind of dragging. And if NQ catches a lift here, then ES could bounce a lot more. So this is one of those things I was talking about where ES looks relatively strong. And so that dip, if I think NQ is pretty much at its lows since the 930 open now. So if it bounces from here, then we could get a nice bounce on ES to new highs, possibly. Just got to look for good setups and be okay not doing anything. And even on the day, just be okay not doing anything, not taking random trades. I'm not in anything, Luis asked. But I did mark this box to look to be a potential buyer and a pullback into there. And we did bounce off of it, but I'm not in it. I didn't see enough to make me click buy if you're just joining in. So we're still kind of consolidating here, lower high put in. It's one thing different versus trading like a prop firm demo account versus trading a live account with real money is become a lot more precise and selective and not so eager to just click buttons up and down. If you want to see a lot of action, I'm sure there's a lot of prop firm traders that have almost nothing to lose that will just do a stream and click buttons, buying and selling up and down. but that's not me. Yeah, feel that about how your mind works different trading a real live cash account versus prop or whatever demo accounts. Yeah. And that's why, like, I always tend to recommend people like not waste too much time with that stuff, especially early on when you're developing, because really need to build the emotions and psychology and, technical trading skills around that skill of managing real money. Just do it with very, very minimal small size that you can afford to lose. And don't copy me or copy anyone else. Risk disclosure, do your own learning. I take losing trades and losing weeks from time to time. So don't just be looking to copy someone else, including myself. Slow grind up here. Slow grind up here. NQ is bouncing off that kind of the low of the day. There's a lot of absorption down there. Just looking at bookmap on NQ. It's a lot of absorption down there, bounced pretty sharply now. So I'm actually surprised we aren't seeing a more aggressive bounce on ES already, since ES is kind of relatively stronger. NQ came down to its low of day, found a lot of absorption and bouncing. But ES is still pretty flat in this range here. So about 14-point range on the day so far. First almost 40 minutes in. After a sell-off, I see a weak bounce with poor selling, and then the next pushes down, shows size. I pay attention. If aggressive buying comes in after that, that's where I take the entry. Nothing wrong with that. Place my stop below the small selling area. Idea is if sellers couldn't push it lower. Yep. To bias, that sounds right to me. If it doesn't move in my favor, that means reasoning might be invalid, and that's why I move break even quickly. Yep. It all sounds valid to me. See what develops here. Any trades, Ricky? No, just watching. I was watching this zone down here for a drop into here to be a buyer. It did drop just barely. I did not see enough for me to click buy in this moment, but it is bouncing back to the highs now. So it did work to be a buyer in that zone. Definitely would be risk off if I did buy it down here. Break even risk. Still watching this area though, if we do get another sharp pullback. But it's not looking super enthusiastic either way, right, at the moment. Kind of low volatility, low momentum. Still at the top of the overnight range, but still kind of just in the range. We kind of took out the low of the range in the pre-market. We've taken out the high of the range, and we're still hanging around, not expanding a ton at all-time highs. A couple points and then back down. So important to keep that in mind. retested those highs again, slightly lower high and pretty sharp selling coming in. So if you guys find value in the analysis and everything here, appreciate it if you just drop a like on the video. If you're tuning in for the first time, I do this at least once a week from time to time, and I post a lot of trade recaps on Instagram, so you can follow me there. But subscribe and turn on the notifications if you do want to be notified when we do these live streams. I try to spend a lot of time, even if we're not taking active trades, I try to answer questions and kind of share how I do analysis with order flow and technical analysis with charts and everything. A bit more selling coming in here. It's kind of a lot of volume transacted at the highs. Just looking at the volume profile, sell and buyers here. There's not really like a tail of lower volume that would tell me like people were not willing to participate up here. It kind of just built a lot of volume all the way up to the highs and pulling back. Usually like on a failed high of day, I would want to see kind of more of a decrease in volume at the highs, kind of like a tail of volume where just people were not participating in the auction up there. There just wasn't a lot of volume. And that can happen two ways. Like if buyers are so aggressive that it's just leaving lower volume and blasting higher, that's different. But if we kind of sharply take out the highs and kind of leave a trail of low volume, I'm not really seeing that, but it still could drop a lot further here quickly if all these sellers get whacked. NQ is substantially relatively weak now. Just looking at bookmap, just taking out the lows again, and a lot of selling coming in on NQ. A lot of selling coming in on NQ here. So that is really dragging ES now. Probably since NQ did not bounce off its lows, I'm probably not looking to be a buyer in this zone now. I mean, it may work, but I don't know. We'll see what develops. But NQ is pretty significantly relatively weak here. But NQ is coming into that kind of afternoon consolidation area where it rallied from. Let's see. So NQ has erased all of its afternoon, like late afternoon rally now. The last 30 minutes, it's dropping into that kind of consolidation range there. ES still holding out. There's kind of a little bit of a lower trend line that's kind of standing out here. That's right now trading at the low of it. Let's see if I can draw this on here. See what happens here. See that. Maybe if we dip and recapture under that and NQ finds some buyers here above its kind of afternoon demand bounce that it formed. It's a possibility. Again, ES kind of already took out the overnight lows of its consolidation and has still kind of maintained right in the middle of that range. Took out the highs, but it's still holding right in the middle of that range. And NQ, on the other hand, has pretty much made lower highs overnight, never took out the overnight highs. All right, so See if we get some absorption and aggressive buying here. I may try this long. There's some aggressive selling here at the 98s, 99s on the dip under that 4,000 level, 6,400 level, but I want to see what develops. We'd need NQ to probably also bounce off that afternoon like consolidation area. Came a couple points away from those 96, 97s. So watching here, sellers are still coming in. Sellers are still coming in, so. It's a lot of selling, but really pumping the brakes here. We'll see if it drops again or not. Right here towards the low of the day, low of the regular trading hours day. It's a lot of negative delta here. 200 lots, 200 lots, 300 lots, 200 lots. A lot of negative delta building here at the lows. So we'll see if those sellers are able to drive this lower or not. Still hasn't quite taken out the low of the day, low of the regular trading hours. See this pretty large orders here right around that 99. We'll see if that recaptures above or if it rejects. Some buying coming in here now. May want to trap all these sellers at this low. See if we get a little pullback with some weaker selling. So buyers are coming in now. See if we get a little pullback with some weaker selling to confirm like buyers have run out of gas. I mean, sellers have run out of gas. Could buy it here, but I just want to see a little pullback, So I'm looking at this potentially trapped selling here. We are seeing aggressive buying coming in. We're still kind of just in that zone that I talked about. See if we get a little pullback here to confirm like sellers have weakened. Just want to see a little pullback with some weaker selling. See if we get a little pullback. If it holds, if we get a little pullback. All right, I'm going to try this at 02 and just to stop right under probably like 99. So 3 points and see if we can go take out these 10s. Just kind of confirming this aggressive buying. We had a little bit of a selling pullback right here. So I'm going to give it a little couple points to breathe, but a lot of aggressive buying coming in now. There is a lot of volume that transacted at the highs. So we'll see if we can go take those out. If we don't see aggressive buying coming in really quick here now and break this out, then I might cut this quick for a tiny loss and look to re-enter maybe. Definitely want to see some more aggressive buying coming in right now. Else I might just cut this. Don't want to see this reject here. Definitely want to see these sellers that are attempting to reject this get trapped and us rally like right now. Don't like how it's staying stuck right here at my entry. Wanted to see continued aggressive buying come quickly after my entry to drive price higher, but staying patient here. I think ES really wanted to do this bounce, and NQ is bouncing off that kind of lows from yesterday afternoon, but not sustaining super aggressively just yet. This has got to go right here. It's got to go right here. Otherwise, I just don't like how weak this buying got. Got to trap those sellers and lift off here. Yep, need to blast here. Just not getting the aggressive buying after my entry that I wanted to see. There's a bid coming in here. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I don't like this heavier selling coming in right at the moment. All right, I'm gonna take this off really quick. I'll look to re-enter if we get a nice drop, but I just don't like how this buying got weak and now we're seeing this aggressive. So I just took it off for about a 2-tick loss and I'm gonna look to re-enter. May not be being patient enough here, and now this may just go blast without me after I took it off for a 2-tick loss. Motherfucker. I may have just not been patient enough right there. Ah, man. Now it's going to go because I now it's going to go because I closed it for basically break even. Now it's going to blast without me. My stop was under the 99s, but I just didn't like how the buying just evaporated there. Buying just evaporated here, and we started to see this heavier selling, so I closed it for like a 2-tick loss. I was going to see if we had a sharp little pullback and I would get back in it, and now it's I just like all this buying just got tiny, tiny, tiny and just had no energy, and then we pulled back and closed it for a tiny 2-tick loss there. And as soon as I closed it for that, we bounced, and now we're bouncing. So that may have been a mistake on my end. May have just been a fumble on my end. I just, in this moment, I loved this setup, and I got in here at the O2s, stop under the 99s, and then I was really speculating we would, because we already dipped down here, I was really speculating we were going to continue to see a lot of aggressive buying right away, and it just completely died. And then I started to see this larger selling down here on this lows, and I just said, you know what? Let me take it off, basically break even here, see if we get one more sharp drop down into these trapped sellers. And like literally the instant that I flattened that, it bounced. So I may have just fumbled the bag there we'll see. Not going to chase it, not going to revenge trade it, just I fucked up. Yeah, the plan was to re-enter. The plan was, let me take it off, basically break even, seeing this heavier selling after this weaker buying. The plan was, let's drop under this kind of trend line thing here, back into these trap sellers, and I'll re-enter down here. Because my stop loss was 99. So I was like, I don't really want to hold this for like a 3-point loss just for it to bounce again here. And I was very convinced after seeing this weak buying and the selling stepping in that we were going to drop back down here. So I took it off here at like 02 or 0150. I was in from the 02s, like right here. And like I basically sold to this large seller here that got bought. And like like almost within a second after I clicked flatten, it bounced. So and we were holding really right at the top of this trap seller here at 400. So really, I wasn't proven wrong. I just got really antsy about not seeing what I wanted to see after my trade entry with all this weak buying. And I was like, let me take this off and get a better entry, because I was pretty sure we were going to quickly drop back down here. I didn't want to get hit for a full like 2 or 3 point stop loss, but maybe I should have just accepted that risk. And if it happened, then look to re-enter. But honestly, this is pretty tricky to read, guys, just because it got so slow and dead here. I was reading this as we were going to see a lot of momentum come in after trapping these sellers. We just dipped right under that box that I was watching, and I saw all this aggressive buying coming in. So after I saw that, got in, got in here long at the 02s and a stop right under where all this aggressive buying came in here right at 99. But then since my entry, it just completely went dead. And then more selling came in, and now we're bounced back up here again. But again, it's only like a point over my entry still. So it's just really not the bottom reversal quick hit that I was looking for. It's just gone really fizzled here, really muted. So I just may have not been patient enough for these conditions right now. That's pretty much what it is. And now it's probably going to go. And I just was not, I was trying to catch it to the 02s, target a breakout of the 6410s. And I just wasn't patient enough. It got really slow, really mixed signals, and I just closed it. So, and it's looking like it's going to rally into the target now without me. So, good plan. Actually, a really good entry. I should have maybe just set my orders and gone and putted some golf balls back here. Yep, next trade. I mean, I don't even really consider that a loss. It's pretty much break even, but annoying. Annoying because I was waiting for that for so long, and then I got it, got a pretty sharp entry, and it just fizzled and just was so dead that it tweaked me out. How this buying just completely went dead. But that is the conditions, pretty slow right now. And so I probably should have been a little more mentally ready to just kind of sit on that and be more patient. Yeah, if we get a sharp, aggressive pullback, then I'm still maybe interested. The only problem is just really lacking aggression from buyers. There's just a lot of very lacking momentum here. But we kind of saw that yesterday, actually, now that I think back. When we made that bottom after that sharp pullback yesterday, it really kind of was like grinding like this before it shot up. It really kind of like was just grinding from 9:55 a.m. yesterday all the way until almost noon. And then it shot up. So it has been a slow grind up, and then we get those aggressive moves. Looking at today, yeah, I mean, pretty sharp entry on my end. It's just in the moment here, maybe I just overanalyzed it, but I've seen so many times like this where the buying just completely fizzles and then goes and stops me and then moves. So I was thinking in this moment that the buying had fizzled and we were going to come test these lows again one more time, and I was going to re-enter. Didn't get the re-entry, just got the break even, couple tick loss, and then it bounced. So going for the target now. Just happens sometimes. It's just it's annoying though, because I did kind of fumble the execution there a little bit. I would have almost rather just taken the loss than fumble the execution. Would have rather taken the loss than fumble the execution and miss out on the trade. That's just how it goes sometimes. But that box held really well. Look at that. We wicked under it a bit. I got the entry right there in the box and fumbled it, but it did work. Analysis was good. Level was good. Read on my entry was good. Just wasn't patient enough. Yeah, thanks, Jose. Yeah, don't overthink it. It just happens sometimes. It's just part of the game. So it's better. I mean, I didn't take a loss, really. It's just a couple ticks, but is what it is. Next one. Now, when you make a mistake like this, or just something like this happens, the worst thing you can do is to force another trade, or fade the move that you missed, or chase it with a bad risk versus reward. The worst thing that you can do is force additional trades after that. So that's why I'm just taking my hands off. In fact, I might go putt a ball really quick. I have a little putting green in my office. So I like how Hormozy, I don't know if you guys watch Alex Hormozy. He's got a lot of good business content, but I like how he says patience is just figuring out what to do in the meantime. Like, likes to take abstract terms and just be extremely take like abstract terms like be patient. Like, what does that actually mean? Like, actively do something else other than the thing that you're trying to be patient to not do. So let me putt a ball really quick. This is how you do not overtrade. All right. No over trading, no revenge trading. About patience. What's your trade? Here it freaking goes without me. About patience. What's your trading routine when you're not live on YouTube? Do you behave the same way you do now? I don't have a place to play golf. Yeah, I do the same thing that I do now. I'm literally being trying to be pretty transparent with you guys, and just this is how I trade. So what you see is what you get. Do something else. I mean, I'm not going to sell these all-time highs. I'm not going to chase it up here with a low risk reward. The same thing applies as when I said I wasn't taking longs up here earlier. Yeah, it is a little bit contextually different because we dipped now. But again, like if I buy up here, where's my stop loss? That is, so I may just have missed this one. I fumbled the bag, had the trade that I was watching for, that I planned for, with the entry confirmation that I was waiting for, this absorption at these lows, and we bounced with aggressive buyers, pulled back. Maybe if I didn't buy up here at the O2s and I waited for a little bit of a pullback, now looking at it, I actually probably would have bought right here at these 6400s and put my stop loss down under these 99s, 98s. So I wasn't really proven wrong. I just got a little unnerved by seeing how this buying completely evaporated after my entry. So I cut it for break even, 2 ticks. And I was expecting, after seeing this weak buying, I was expecting another quick little drop where I was going to then look to enter at maybe like the 99s, 4000s where my stop loss was. And literally no sooner did I click flatten than it bounced. So that's on me. That's on me. All right, give me 2 minutes. I'm going to walk away really quick, refresh my eyes. I'm going to go touch grass, and then I'll come right back. All right, guys, I'm back. A few people left. That's okay. Here's the target for that trade. Honestly, I was just very focused on my own trade there because I was executing, but Jorge said, very clear reasoning. Thanks, Matt. I didn't enter, but hearing your thoughts is a must. Cool. Did anybody else take any trades up that they saw, you know, with or without that analysis? What did you guys see? I am bummed I missed it because that was pretty good confirmations. We had pretty nice trapped sellers right in that area that I was watching. So I'm a little bit bummed, but that's just part of the game. It happens. You guys got to see it real time. I make mistakes. I'm not perfect. But the important thing, like I talked about in that live stream on Instagram about resilience, is just being able to quickly bounce back to your baseline. And this instance, like what I talked about in resilience is like when you make a mistake, when something happens, how quickly do you bounce back to your baseline, which is basically what I was this morning, staying patient, looking for an A+ trade. Being unresilient at this moment would be probably like trying to fade these highs now, something that's not my trading system, just doing something else, either reversing it or chasing it just because I'm frustrated that I messed up. But not going to do that because I will be resilient and I will just wait for the next one, even if that means not taking another trade today. We'll see. Maybe something sets up, maybe it doesn't. But that's where my head's at. Just real-time rant. You guys get to live through it. Even when you are consistent and you make money trading, it's not easy. You still have to earn it every day like I do. It's not, you're constantly learning, constantly improving, constantly doing stuff. So just like an athlete that keeps showing up to games every day, yeah, you can make a lot of money, you can do all this, that, and the other, but you have to keep showing up and playing every day. It's not easy. It's not like a job where you just get paid to show up. You don't even have to do much necessarily. Holding 5 contracts, sold 10. Laksh, what was your trade? Thanks, Matt. No trades. $700 done for the day. Nice, Laksh. I stayed in because risk was low. Yeah, I should have too. Got in at the 401s, watching the price tape, got out at 400s. Yeah, me too. Yeah. Tried longs earlier in the day, got stopped out 1 hour on the day. It's just part of the game. MES, I just opened the DOM Pro and red and blue bars look like very squeezed, not like what you have. Can you please share what you have done to this add-on? So you can see my colors up here where I have this set and this set and this set. These are the settings that I've changed. Sorry, I'm going to have a snack here, guys. Intermission, need a quick refuel, protein bar. Nice. Somebody actually Max caught a short on this. Laksh, I don't really have another target, man. This was the target for the breakout here. I mean, we're at all-time highs. So that's why I was looking to be in here and hold for this breakout that we're getting now. And it was an excellent, excellent trade. I caught it. I fumbled it, closed near break even. Was looking to re-enter on a little bit more of a drop, didn't get it. And literally no sooner did I click flatten right here at like 0150. No sooner did I click that button than it moved up and never looked back. So I don't have another target up here at all-time highs. Just this was going to be my target at these 6410s, and then I'd probably just be holding until I see it slow down. Ideally on this breakout of the highs, we would see a nice bit of momentum squeeze. We see these offers appearing here, here, here. So maybe see if these fill or if they pull. Or, you know, we could reject here. So you could, I would have scaled out half here for sure on this break of the highs. And then I'd just be holding, and I'd be looking at these offers here, 64.14, 64.15, see if we get a quick pump higher into those offers if they fill, and I would just be kind of holding and trailing my stop until it slows down. So I have this setting here all the way over on the heat map. Somebody's asking about the bookmap settings. As far as the volume dot size, I have it in the middle-ish, roughly. Slightly past middle, maybe. As far as this contrast, I have it all the way over to the right. Let's see, these are the add-ons that I have. Not much, just the DOM Pro. Volume dots. Here's my settings for the volume dots, which I think is just default for me. I don't think I've changed this, and if I did, it was years ago. You can't take partials if you're just trading one contract, obviously, even just one micro. So I would try to set like my first reasonable medium target, and I would just hold it for there. It is a little trickier trading one contract. Even with just two contracts is nice because you can have at least like one scale out. But yeah, I mean, if I took this trade in that scenario, I try to just be very stop loss or target and hold for those, not far out, but not too close either, because obviously you need to realize 2, 3, 4 R on your trades. If you're, depending on how high the win rate is with the setups that you look for. For me, 2 R is like the minimum that I look for. But in this scenario, the risk was like 3 points. Targeting these highs was a pretty reasonable target here around 64.10. I just would have been all out there with about 3 R. Or just if it broke above right away, I would just trail my stop loss up here and then see how far it goes. Yeah, Lax, it can be better to trade one. Right now, I typically trade like 2 to 4 ES contracts, and just the fees and everything. I don't really want to trade like 20 to 40 micros. I also don't want to have the micros chart up. I like to just look at the ES chart, not the MES chart. But yeah, if you're just trading one ES, it's probably better to trade 10 micros, even though the fees are higher. But I don't really recommend scaling too much anyway as a beginning trader, though. And I think you should probably just focus on just being consistent and minimizing any complexity with scaling or dynamic risk or anything like that. I wouldn't do that. Man, wasn't that a great catch though on that dip there that we caught there around those 6,400, 6,402s? Great setup, great patience all morning for it. And then target hit here. So good trade. It's like a 3-4 hour trade here. Yeah, great trade, great analysis, great game plan. Should have just held. I've noticed that a lot lately, and I literally said this yesterday. Is that it has not been great over the summer with the volatility being low, price action being slower. It has not been great to take my risk off to break even too fast because it's been slower to get moves and everything. So I literally just said yesterday it's been better to be more patient and to everything like that with the trades. And then I just didn't do that today. I saw some red flags, took it off. I took it off with the intent to get a better reentry, but did not get it. And that's just how it goes sometimes. If I would have taken that off here and it dropped 2 points further and I re-entered, then I'd be celebrating right now. But just how it worked out today. Yeah, I use volume profile, but not in not all the stuff like the value area high, value area low, point of control. I don't really use that stuff too much. But I do just kind of look at the volume profile on the day to see where there's a lot of volume, where there's low volume areas and stuff like that. Yes, I look at the footprint charts as well. I have that right in the middle of my screen. Look at the footprint charts, I look at the candle charts, I look at the day volume profile, and I look at bookmap and the DOM and everything that I'm showing you guys here on this screen. This is like the best screen to have all in one though, because I have the day volume profile here, have basically the same information as the footprint charts, just all here on the DOM, and have bookmap. So this is like, if I had one screen to trade, this is like everything that I need right here. How do I set my levels? I just do technical analysis on supply and demand areas that form, rallies and base and rallies. I look at trend lines like a little bit if there's really key trend lines that form. I guess the special sauce is the way that I use those things is maybe different than somebody that would just be doing that technical analysis on a candle chart and trying to trade off of it. The way that I use it and interpret it is different. So just continuing to grind up higher here. All right, asking because I started learning order flow after realizing ICT is way too inaccurate, feeling kind of lost about this topic though. Yeah, Carmine Rosado that runs InvestiTrade has a YouTube channel and he has a great like entry to order flow kind of series on YouTube for free that you can check out. And I think it's pretty good. And if you want more stuff, I post a lot of like trade recaps and tips and everything on Instagram. I am going to be posting more and more stuff on YouTube. But I post a lot of like trade recaps and tips and stuff like that on supply and demand, order flow trading on Instagram. So if you're not following me on there, it's Matt Owen Trades as well. Instagram, X, TikTok, whatever, they're all just Matt Owen Trades. Same as YouTube here. Yeah, it's a good. He shared some setups, a lot of good. Like I would start there for sure. Start there for sure. All right, guys, if you appreciate all the information here, I appreciate if you just drop a like on the video. Hopefully gets the algorithm to show it to more people so we get a larger group showing up in here. I appreciate everybody that's joining in though. We have like a really consistent group that shows up every time I do these live streams, which is awesome. So I appreciate everybody that's joined in here. Oh, a lot of large buying just hit there. Right where we saw those offers, around 14.15. Nice rally off there. Yeah, I'm not looking to chase this move, and I'm not looking to fade it. So probably going to be a day there for me. Nice, just took profit for 11 points. Amazing. Yeah, the setup worked great. We did, you know, it was actually really smart of me not to take it. I didn't see good confirmations to take it here. We did end up dropping further. I did see good confirmations to take it. Unfortunately, fumbled the execution, took it off break even, but excellent setup right in that zone that I mentioned. We dropped in there. You know, hopefully a lot of people saw similar analysis, or this helped them see similar analysis and took their own trade and did catch it. I think a few people did. Amazing. Lax caught it. Yeah. All out on this pump here. I would be too. Really great setup. But I would not chase the move, and I would not fade the move. So it's going to be the end of my trading day there, unfortunately. But let me know if you guys like this format. And if there's anything else that you want me to do on the live streams, let me know. Drop any comments and share, and I've never used Atlas. Bastion asked if that's better. I've been a bookmap user for years now, like I think probably 4 or 5 years. Bookmap is the best. But yeah, if you guys like this, appreciate it if you just drop a like and share. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Hopefully you got some good information, good insights, learned how to do some analysis, learned some stuff. So thank you guys, and I'll see you again soon for the lives. Again, if you, I did this, I already did one earlier this week. This is the second one that I've done this week. Somebody was commenting on Instagram asking me to do another one. So I said, yeah, sure, I'll do one today. So, but like I said, I'm here trading, doing this anyway, but I'm going to be done trading for the day now. So, but like I said, I'm trading anyway. So hop on here to do this with you guys. So appreciate everyone tuning in. Yep. Thank you guys for tuning in. All right. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.